If you're struggling to keep promises to yourself, the method that I'm going to share with you might change that. All of my life, I struggled with my weight. I was an athlete from the age of 6 until 18. I was getting plenty of exercise every day, but still managed to consistently put on the pounds each year. By the time I graduated college, I'd gotten up to 270 pounds, and I felt terrible. The problem wasn't exercise, it was my diet. You see, I had a terrible, ferocious appetite as far back as I can remember. When I was in middle school, I would stay up late eating donuts, ice cream, cookies, or whatever else I could get my hands on, and then immediately go to sleep. I was aware of how bad this was, but I couldn't stop. I was just so hungry. I thought about food all day. So every time I would try to cut back and eat less, hunger would win. Eventually, when I graduated college, I had enough of disappointing myself and wanted to figure out how I could actually lose weight. If other people could do it, then so could I. That's when I came across a book called The 4 Hour Body by author Tim Ferriss. In the book, the author discusses the slow carb diet and states that somebody could eat as much of the approved foods as they wanted. Now, since my big problem was always being hungry, a diet where I could have as much quantity of food that I liked seemed perfect for me. The only issue is this seemed like a gimmick, but since I failed so many other times, I would just give it a try and see what happened. So I went grocery shopping, bought the foods I needed for the week, and began the diet. I found it pretty easy for me to stick to, especially because when I was hungry, I would just eat. After the first week, I had dropped 3 pounds. I felt amazing. Something had finally worked. And this brings us to the second part of the author's recommendation, which was a tip for adhering to the diet long term. This tip was to take 1 day a week and eat whatever I wanted with no restriction. All of those cookies and brownies and pizzas, it was all allowed. You could imagine the smirk on my face when I saw that. And so on day 7, I started eating those foods. Only I actually tried to limit myself a little bit because I didn't want all that progress to go away. But I noticed something profound. I could not limit myself. Once I had one cookie, I needed to finish the whole package. I couldn't just have 2 slices. I needed as much as I could fit into my stomach. Once I started, all discipline went out the window. This caused the biggest realization I had throughout this process, which was that I absolutely cannot do moderation. I had no problem avoiding these foods altogether, but once I had a little taste, it was over. And this made me realize the whole time that my problem, all of those other times I tried to lose weight, wasn't my discipline, it was my environment. You see, now that I didn't have any junk foods in my house, I didn't have to look at them every day and try my best to be disciplined. It made it so much easier because instead of fighting temptation, I didn't have any in the first place. Since then, I've applied this methodology to save myself from other things too. This includes excessive online shopping by removing shopping apps from my phone and constant scrolling by removing apps like TikTok. The whole time I thought my problem was discipline. It wasn't. It was that I kept myself in situations where I needed perfect discipline every single day just to not fail. Nobody wins that fight forever. So instead of trying to be stronger than your environment, just change it. Remove the thing, delete the app. Don't buy the junk food. Make the right choice the only choice. That's not weakness. That's just being smart about how you're wired.